Hello, everybody. This morning, the Cleveland Indians officially announced the name of the team that they will become starting in 2022, and that was the Guardians. So, to celebrate the change, we are going to be starting up a game with the Guardians. So, this is in 2022. So, basically, what I did is I simmed up to July 31st, made any major trades, and then simmed until the end of the year. Transactions were disabled and uh, really the only changes that happened were the major trades that have already occurred in baseball as of July 23rd. So the most recent major trade was the Nelson Cruz trade to the A's, or the Rays rather. Um, so any major deals that happen at the deadline will not be reflected in this game. Now, there's only really a couple other big things to go over. So I did control the draft and the international amateur signings myself, and I also gave Josh Naylor a real nice extension. He had a monster year. So that's really all that's happened to this point. So I'll just quickly catch you guys up on the major players that we acquired in those moves. So from the international amateur pool, we managed to acquire Bobby Perez, who is an outstanding looking third baseman. He's got solid defense at the hot corner with a really good arm. He's got high intelligence, which will help with his development. And he's a really, really high potential hitter. So, no, he's already number 2 in the prospect ranking. This was an outstanding pickup for us, in my opinion. I'm really happy with him. For the draft, I thought we had a decent draft, not having any top picks. Jalen Hurd was our first round selection. He's got really good potential across the board. Could be a top of the rotation starter. Note how he is ranked 8th in the prospect rankings. So once again, I think we had pretty good success there. We've got Carter Jensen, who's an left fielder. He was a catcher in the draft, so I converted him. He is ranked 81st in the prospect rankings, so not bad. Let's see, who else do we have here? Dalen Lyle, another outfielder. He's not ranked. He's solid. I think he's got good potential, especially on defense in a corner spot, and he can hit with BABIP. He's also got a little bit of power. We drafted a couple of relievers. I was stunned to find this guy available in the 4th round. He's got a ridiculous personality. I mean, just look at that. That's so good. He's got insane stuff with a slider, mind you, and really good control. So he is on the team as well. Philip Abner was the best starting pitcher available in the 5th round. I think he has the potential to be a back rotation guy. I thought that was pretty good value for that round. And then I took a couple relievers. Steve Jordan was one. And actually, it looks like he was the only one. At this point, I started drafting just normal players. And yeah, that's really all the major players that we've got here. By the way, as you could see, I have imported the Guardians logos. So this is the Guardians text that is replacing the Indians text. And the little G there that's on their ball caps is replacing what they had before. So you can see that here on their caps. I think overall, these are pretty decent logos. The name change is pretty cool. I like the idea. So as for this game itself, I will be doing all of the major things on screen, but I'm going to handle like just simulations and such off screen. So this series feels like it's a little bit faster moving. Anyways, we are coming off an 80 and 82 season here. So we didn't do too well. We were in the playoff picture, really in that wild card spot until the very end of the season where we completely fell off a cliff. Again, I didn't manage the team at all during the season. I just watched from the sidelines. So, yeah, there was that. Shane Bieber, I believe, won the Cy Young, or at least came close. He had a really great season. He's going to be our ace for a long time. Hopefully, we can get him signed to a long-term extension. Jose Ramirez had a great year. Although he's not a bad player by any stretch, I think we're probably trading him. I don't really have much need for him. Ahmed Rosario is definitely getting traded. He is coming off a really strong year, and I do not like him at all. Aaron Saval is coming off a weak year. I think we'll give him an extension. I actually like him quite a lot. I don't know about the rest of this rotation. Stefan is really more of a reliever than the starter. I don't know why he's in the rotation. And I think we've got a pretty good team to work with here. Definitely the pieces to construct something pretty good. All right, anyways, the first thing we're going to do here is make some decisions on options because we've got some team options to do. This is the first thing of the offseason. So we've got Cesar Hernandez here. His options for $60 million, no buyout. I am going to avoid this. I have absolutely no desire to keep a mediocre player around. Roberto Perez with a $7 million option. I feel like we could re-sign him for less if we really wanted to. And we've got Austin Hedges, so don't really need Perez. I'm going to avoid his contract as well. All right, our owner is already unhappy, relatively speaking, but that's fine. I am going to make sure we have cannot be fired enabled because, well, I don't want to get fired. Yeah, for a season that I didn't even do anything. But you can see here, our farm system was ranked like 28th or something coming in. All I've done is the draft and international amateurs, and we're already ranked third. So we're off to a really good start with our prospects, that's for sure. All right. I'm just going to do some quick housekeeping stuff, and I'll get back to you guys with awards and the first part of the offseason. All right, guys. So I just realized I totally forgot that we've got arbitration to do as well, and pending free agents. So I'm not really sure if we've got too many free agents that we're going to want to keep. And while we're here, I'll also go over the settings that I've got. So the things that are different than default is ratings here in the max is enabled. I've disabled relative ratings so we get a pure idea of what players are rather than just skewed based on our league. I just realized I left that disabled. So we've also got personality ratings shown on player page, and I've changed the development settings slightly. Batters are aging at 0.85 speed and developing at 1.35 speed. Pitchers are aging at normal speed but developing at 1.15 speed, and talent change randomness is set to 135. So that's going to allow players to come out of nowhere more often than normal. For the AI settings, we are doing neutral trade difficulty and neutral trade preference. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I think we're going to leave that. Since this is just a little bit of a for fun series, no, you know what? I'm going to turn this up a tick. I don't want to crank it up too far. I want it to be a little bit of a challenge, but not too much of one. Our ratings, actually, I will do 2 ticks. So this is about where I normally play. I think this is the highest you can go while still being able to make trades. So for our ratings weight, we've got 40% on year one, 30, or on the actual ratings, 30% on the current year, 20% on the previous year, and 10% on 2 years ago. So those things that's basically just going to have the AI value players more based on statistics than ratings, which I think is more realistic. Obviously, the Cleveland team is named the Guardians. I have enabled the NLDH heading into 2022. It was not on for 2021. So, yeah, I think it's likely to be there heading into 2022. So, I am enabling it to reflect that. I have trading of players injured more than 7 days allowed and draft pick trading allowed as well. For finances, I have disabled the cash maximum. I don't really see how that's realistic at all. For players, I've disabled the international hard cap and I set everything to a lot. And that's really it. Those are all the settings I've adjusted. So let's quickly take care of arbitration. I'm just going to set all the values and then come back to you guys, and I'll also look at potential contracts to hand out. All right, so actually, right off the bat, we've got a really easy decision here. Shane Bieber, he wants a 10-year extension. We're probably not going to keep him around for the whole thing since he's 26, but he's the best pitcher in the league, and paying him $23 million a year is a bargain. So I think we're just going to give him this contract as he asks for it, and yeah, so I'll come back to you guys with the next one. All right, so I've looked at every player's arbitration case, and here's what we've got. I have given offers to Cal Quantrill, Phil Matone, Nick Whitgren, and I think that's it for 1-year deals at slightly less than their expected team offer. Shane Bieber has, of course, received his big extension. And the rest of these 5 or 6 players, or well, I guess Hedges. I like Hedges, so we're going to give him something. I totally missed him. But Rosario on down, I have no interest in. So we're going to look to trade all of these players. I'll come back to you guys probably with a trade proposal next. And yeah, that's going to be the next thing we'll do. All right, guys. Well, the first trade that we've got here is going to be shipping away Ahmed Rosario. As I was saying earlier, pitching is probably one of our bigger problems right now, and we are definitely fixing that here. We're giving up 3 prospects that I don't really like very much in this trade as well. And in return, we're getting Matt Strom, who actually looks really good. Chris Paddock, who I'm liking quite a bit too. He's a 3 pitch guy, but worst case scenario, I think we'll be able to ship him to another team in a pretty good value trade. And Michael Baez, who's another decent starting pitcher. Not really sure what we'll do with him. We're also getting Chris Dominic, who's a solid relief prospect, really high stamina and decent potential overall, and $1 million. So we're going to make this one happen. I'll come back to you guys with the next trade. You know what, guys? Before we get back into players that we don't want to pay in arbitration, let's just appreciate how crazy out of their minds the Red Sox are right now. Now, Chris Sale, sure, he only pitched in AAA in 2021. He didn't pitch in 2020. But look at how darn good his ratings are. This is definitely still an ace. And not only are the Red Sox willing to pay 80% of his contract for bits and pieces on the margins, they're willing to throw in Alex Verdugo for us to take him on. This is an outstanding right fielder right here. This is just a really, really good trade for us. We're picking up 2 superstar caliber players and giving up 5 mediocre at best players here. I'm actually going to pull Ken Abner. I like him quite a bit, and maybe we can even get more out of this Chris Sale retention. So yeah, I'm liking the idea of throwing in Tristan McKenzie. I mean, our back of the rotation and now has better options than him. Sure, he's a spark plug, but I mean, overall, I think we definitely improve our team. So at this point, we're getting 90% of the Chris Sale contract retained, which is just crazy. It looks like we can even get extra cash out of this. So yeah, the Red Sox are giving us 2 superstars and paying for one of them incomplete. So I'm really liking this trade. I think we are definitely adding a lot of talent, and it does not hurt us to do it. So yeah, this is definitely my kind of trade. All right, we're going to complete it here, and I will come back to you guys hopefully with another trade. I'm pulling you guys in real quick to just point out an issue I just noticed with our team. So for whatever reason, our market size is currently tiny. It's supposed to be 4. It's currently at 2. 4 is below average. 2 is tiny. It makes a huge difference in your market and money available. I don't know why it was set to 2. But yeah, so that I'm assuming is going to affect our budget by about $30 million. It's a pretty significant change. And I'm going to increase our local media contract by, oops, if I can click correctly, $30 million to reflect that, which will increase our total media by $30 million. And yeah, I think that's about right. So yeah. Anyways, now I'm actually going to go make that trade. So here's the funny thing about this trade. It qualifies as a salary dump, okay? Yasiel Sierra, David Price, Cody Bellinger, and Nick Robertson. So we are taking on the salaries of Sierra and Price and giving up Savall to get Bellinger and Robinson, or Robertson rather. But Yasiel Sierra is on a 1-year deal, so he's about to hit arbitration. So we could just release him and we don't have to pay him 1 cent. David Price is making $16 million next year, and frankly, he's still a suitable bottom rotation starter, so he'll give us value. He's basically replacing Savall directly. He's a slightly less effective Savall. Bellinger, he's going to be expensive, but he is an MVP caliber player in either corner. He'll likely play left field since we just picked up Verdugo to be our right fielder. He might even play center, but I think more likely he will play left. This is just a huge acquisition for us, adding Cody Bellinger. Normally, I'd go for like Walker Bueller, but we've already got plenty of pitching. We are a little shy on hitting, and this definitely helps fill that hole. I love this trade. Definitely a huge gain for our team. So I will be back with another trade in the near future. You know how I said Chris Paddock might also just be a trade chip to another team? Well, this is where that comes into play. Chris Paddock headlines a 5-player package to the Diamondbacks, so guys, I'm not really too high on for a package that is headlined by Pavin Smith, who will be our first baseman next year. He is an outstanding hitter who will actually add value defensively at first base. Negligible value, but value nonetheless. We're also getting JB Bukauskas, who I think is going to be a reliever to start the next season with a fastball slider super power combination, lower control and lower stamina. And Corbin Martin, who will almost certainly be a starter. He is a really good pitcher. I like him a lot. And yeah, overall, this package is just a whole bunch of nobodies, guys that we wouldn't have really kept around. Players that we don't need on our team. We're also getting $3 million on the deal. And Josh Green, who I think is a really solid reliever. So yeah, I'm liking this trade. I think this will improve our team as well. How desperate are the Orioles to dump Chris Davis's contract? I'm thinking pretty darn desperate. They're willing to give us Adley Rushman, John Rush, and Tanner Scott. So a really strong relief prospect in addition to their top prospect, the number 3 overall prospect, and a pretty darn good reliever. Now we are sending over Nolan Jones, who is one of our top prospects, Carter Jensen, another top prospect, and Raymond Burgos, who's a nobody, to make this one work. And I'm not really interested in Rushman, but I do think he'll have really good trade value. So that's what we're looking at here. I think we can swap Rushman to another team and get something better in return. So I'll get back to you guys possibly with that swap, possibly with a different one. We've got a pretty interesting one here. So we are going to be picking up Tyler Rogers and Logan Webb from the uh, Giants. Buster Posey is a quote unquote salary dump, but we've got a team option here with a $0 buyout, so we're just going to take that and essentially just get rid of him immediately. Going over to the Giants will be Bo Naylor, who's a zero value catcher in my opinion, and a no-name prospect, Ernie Clement. So I think this is a good deal. We're adding to our team for basically nothing. So I'll come back to you guys with the next trade. Another case of getting something out of nothing here. So Matt Carpenter is once again on a team option with a $0 buyout. So we are essentially just taking him on as a salary dump that doesn't actually exist. And we are picking up Jordan Hicks, who is one of the better young relievers in the game. He's about to hit arbitration, which will make him slightly more expensive than we'd like to see, but he's still an excellent acquisition. Going over to the Cardinals will be Cal Quantrill, who's a decent pitcher, really more of a reliever, but he's also hitting arbitration, so I feel like we're probably taking on about the same amount of cash, but getting a much higher quality player. All right, and on to the next trade. Something we've not done yet is add a center field to our squad. And while we could try to get one in free agency, I really like Manuel Margot. He's going to be a little bit pricey heading into a second year of arbitration and already making a good amount. But he's a nice acquisition. He's probably the rangiest center fielder we have an opportunity to acquire here. In return, we're giving the Rays Zach Plesac, who is a decent starting pitcher, and we are also exchanging Nit Whitgren for Drew Rasmussen, which I think is a pretty direct reliever upgrade. Rasmussen is also capable of starting if we get to that point, and we're getting 200K as well. So a nice little acquisition there, and we'll head on to our next trade. Alrighty, this is the last trade we are going to be making for now. So next we're going to do a quick overview of the team. We are going to be giving up Aaron Bracho and Carlos Vargas, who are two prospects, and receiving Nick Allen from the Athletics. So he just had a monster year in AA. Outstanding personality, great fielding. He's a solid shortstop. We like him. This is a good acquisition. So now just a quick overview of a roster. I'm going to release the players that need to be released. So guys like Chris Davis, they're just going away. We have no need for these guys. Matt Carpenter, another one who's got a team option. So again, releasing him will do absolutely nothing. Just checking to see if we've got any others. Buster Posey's another one. I'd actually be interested. Oh, never mind. He will not take contract offers. Okay, so we've also got here, I think that's it. I think all of the players remaining on this list are guys we actually want. So I'm going to move these players to our active roster. And what we've got now, so I'm going to clear our lineups and depth charts. Okay, so our starting catcher is currently Austin Hedges with Roberto Perez about to hit free agency, and I'm not terribly interested in extending him at the moment. Our first baseman will be Pavin Smith. Our second baseman will be, or is currently slotted to be Andres Jimenez. So I'm going to set his position to be second base. Our third baseman is currently Jose Ramirez, but that's going to change. We're trading Ramirez. I already have one idea in mind, but I'm not sure if that's what we'll do. Our left fielder will be Cody Bellinger. No time leaving shortstop open. Andrelton Simmons is going to be a free agent, and I'm thinking we'll sign him. Manuel Margot will be our center fielder. Alex Verdugo will be our right fielder, and Josh Naylor will be our designated hitter. So this is how our lineup is shaping up. I'm just going to give it a small amount of shape to fit about where it'll be. I'm going to stick Ramirez at the bottom since he is likely going to not be on the team come opening day. So we've actually got a lot of lefties in this lineup right now. Um, 1 through 4, our current 1 through 4 is a really good hitting lineup. Smith is an outstanding hitter. Naylor's an outstanding hitter. Verdugo's an outstanding hitter. Bellinger, just pretty much, I think he's going to win MVP. He had a ridiculous season in the NL. So, yeah, we've got some stuff going there. Shane Bieber is obviously going to be our ace. I think he's basically the best pitcher in the game. You can't ask for too much better than that. Our number 2 pitcher is going to be Chris Sale. He'd be the ace on most teams. We're very lucky to have him. Our number 3 guy, I'm having a tough time deciding, but I think for now, that's going to be Logan Allen. Our number 4 guy, who is actually in the minor leagues at the moment, but is about to earn his call up, is Corbin Martin. I really love Corbin Martin. And that would make Matt Strom rather our number 5 pitcher. And this is what our I actually just realized I totally forgot David Price. David Price can be our number 5 starter for now then. And this would be what our opening day rotation would approximately look like. Another thing we could do is put Corbin Martin back in the minors for a little bit, service time manipulate, and indeed use him as our somebody else rather as our number 5 starter. So our bullpen looks really good. I think Karinchak is likely to be traded before opening day. I think Bukauskas could be traded before opening day just based on some possibilities I've seen with other teams. I'm not totally sure about third base, second base, and obviously shortstop at this point, so that's fluid. I'm going to take a look at some more possibilities. We're going to dump all of the remaining players on the team that I'm not interested in keeping. That's mainly Franmil Reyes at this point. And I'll come back to you guys when we actually start, or, well, I'll do the trades. Yeah, I'll show you guys the next trades. When we acquired Chris Sale earlier, I said that the Red Sox were insane. And now that we have this trade up, I have my suspicions 100% confirmed. So I'm not entirely sure where we're going to play Devers yet, but we are getting Bogerts 50% retained. And he is probably our opening day third baseman at this point. Outstanding hitter with solid defense at the hot corner. What are we giving up? Well, Franmil Reyes, who's a salary dump, basically. Logan Webb, who's a quality pitcher, but definitely expendable. And then Ben Gamel, Logan Allen, and Juan Then. I mean, are you kidding me? Look at this trade. This is just insane. Anyways, that one's definitely happening. There is no question that this is a ginormous win for our organization. And yeah, so I'll get back to you guys with the next major news. Now, I don't think Steven Strasberg is going to make our opening day roster. But the fact that we could give up three relatively minor players and get him 25% retained, with cash thrown in, mind you, it just feels much too good to pass up. I think we could probably give Strasberg to another team. Now, he's on a large contract, but this drops to about $27 million once you account for retention. And he's coming off a pretty strong 2021, 3.43 ERA with 4.3 WAR, 207 innings pitched. He led the NL in games started. So we're going to complete this, and I'll see what we can get for Strasberg. The return for Strasburg's not quite what I had hoped, but we are still getting a pretty good pitching prospect here in Alex Manoah, the number 31 overall prospect, a 3.5-star guy. I think he's also likely trade bait, but still not a bad acquisition. 500,000 in the deal as well, so sending him over to the Blue Jays, I think that's a pretty good deal, and I'll be back for you guys with the next trade. It's not going to involve Strasburg. Now, the Angels say, how'd you like to have the best player in baseball? Oh, and we'll pay most of his salary for you. I say, yeah, yeah. So here we're giving up pretty much all of our valuable trade chips remaining. Jose Ramirez and James Karinchak are headlining the deal. Bukauskas and Naylor are big pieces as well. And remember how I gave Naylor a really team-friendly contract? The reason he's getting traded here is because Mike Trout is essentially replacing him on the team. He's going to bump somebody to DH. He's good enough to play the field, so I don't think he's DHing for the moment, but yeah, we'll have to see. I like this trade a lot. I think we definitely are winning. Now, there is one big setback here. We're taking on Justin Upton's contract, which is $28 million, but it's only 1 year, and we're getting like 25% of Trout's contract retained for that. And I mean, at this point, we're paying him like $3 million a year, and he's the best hitter in baseball. So I really don't see any reason to not do this one. That's a pretty obvious trade to make, in my opinion. Big switch, no kidding. Yeah, of all of the trades we made, this is probably the biggest. I think at this point, we could take another look at the team and try to figure out what, if anything, we need to do in terms of trades. It looks like we're going to stick Matt Strom back into the rotation. So we actually have a pretty nice rotation here with 3 lefties to 2 righties, and it may not stay that way. I'll get to that in a little bit when we talk about free agency. All right, so we have Mike Trout on the team now. Let's see here. We've got Verdugo and Bellinger in the corners. I don't think he actually bumps either of those guys, and he definitely doesn't bump Margot, so Trout's actually going to be our DH. Justin Upton, he can get released. We don't really need him. Wait, we just paid his contract now, so do we actually not have him on the books for next year? I don't think we do. Oh man, that's great. Okay. Anyways, Xander Bogaerts, who, as you guys probably remember, we acquired in a trade with the Red Sox. He will be our starting third baseman. It's kind of tough to say what we're doing about Rafael Devers at this point. I'm not entirely sure, in all honesty. There are a couple possibilities. We could trade Bellinger and pick up, I'm thinking Wander Franco if we're trading Cody Bellinger, and move Mike Trout to left field, use Devers as either our DH or first baseman. Yeah, probably DH, and then Pavin Smith gets to stay at first base. Or we could just trade Devers. So I'm going to investigate that possibility next, I think. That will really determine where this team is going forwards. It looks like we could also use a little bit of lower tier relief help, but I think that's something we can take care of in free agency as well. I think this team is pretty much ready to hit the free agency market. Something I want to point out here is not only do we have a pretty good team at this point, we've got a team that's cheap. Our salary is projected to be under $100 million. Now, once I start handing out front-loaded contracts to guys like Alex Verdugo, Shane Bieber. Well, I guess Shane Bieber's isn't really front loaded, but those guys. That's gonna bring that salary up a little bit, but in the long run, we're still gonna be looking at really cheap players. So this is an exciting team. Salaries are probably the next thing that we are going to be taking a look at. after after looking at how we're gonna get either Devers into the lineup or Devers off the team. So yeah, I'll get back to you guys once I figure that one out. I made a very serious push for Franco and just couldn't make it work. And then I made a very serious push for Bueller and just couldn't make it work. So I came to the, what is this, like the fourth or fifth option and made a push for Arias with Devers. And this is the route we are going to end up going. We'll trade Rafael Devers, top prospect that we got for Strasberg, Alex Manoah, and a couple of randos. In return, we will be getting Julio Arias, who will slot in towards the top of our rotation. He's a very talented pitcher, yet another lefty, and pretty good relief prospect, Sean Lord, along with a little bit of cash. I'm not too thrilled with this one, but really we just do not have a place for Devers on the team, and we can use more pitching. Arias definitely will help our team out. So we're going to make this one work. I'm going to do some finances, look at some extensions, and our new arbitration situation. I'll come back to you guys when I'm ready with all that. Alright guys, this is what I ended up landing on for an extension to Bellinger. He wanted 10 years, a contract pretty similar to this in terms of AAV, and he did want the opt-out, so what we are going to be giving him is a front-loaded deal. We have plenty of cash heading into next season, so I have no problem dropping 40 million on him, and it'll decline. So I mean, frankly, that second year is lower than the value he was asking for by year 3, so we aren't looking at too much over the course of the contract. He's not going to take the opt-out. He will take the opt-out. He's not going to keep playing under this contract. If he does, then we'll just take the buyout or trade him away. I mean, I don't think he'll be around that long anyways, but not a bad contract for Bellinger at this point in his career. He just had a monster season. I expected it to be expensive to retain him. All right, anyways, guys, I'll get back to you with the next major contract news. All right, I tried to give out long-term extensions to Alex Verdugo and Julio Urias, but they just would not have it. So those two guys are not receiving contracts. Everyone else I've come to terms with in terms of arbitration deals, we're not paying anyone too much, just slightly below their deals, and that includes Verdugo and Arias. I came to terms with them on a 1-year deal. So that's where we currently stand, and yeah, I will get back to you guys with any long-term extensions that I hand out to players in pre-arbitration or whatever, and then I think we're going to head into the offseason. All right, a real bargain on Pavin Smith here. We're paying him less than $5 million AAV over 8 seasons. This is going to buy out, I think, 2 years of pre-arbitration, 3 years of arbitration, and 3 years of free agency. So a really outstanding deal here. Um, and I think with that, we are ready to head into the off season. And yeah, so we'll have to see what things turn out like there. I'll get to you guys once we've got some idea of who we're signing free agency. It is actually not yet time for the off season, but the KBO, or I think it's actually the MPB. Yeah, the MPB has announced their posted players today, and Sosuke Genda is among them. He is a captain with outstanding shortstop defense, and he's probably not a bad number 9 hitter. So this is somebody that I will consider signing because he's also going to be real cheap if we can't get Anderson Simmons in free agency. So just going to leave that out there for you guys. All right, it's free agency. So before we hop into this, first I want to point out a couple of things here. I've given minor league contracts to 2 guys I fully expect to make our major league roster, if not this year at some point. First is Arturo Mercado, who is an outstanding shortstop prospect. He's not bad hitter overall. He's a leader, and he's got real nice defense. So he's 22. We might give him a year to develop, but he could also be our utility infielder to start the season. I also gave a minor league offer to Jose Aguilar, who will probably be on our opening day roster as a utility outfielder. He's got okay hitting, and he can play all 3 outfield spots pretty darn well, so that's really what I like about him. I also gave a minor league offer to Jorge Sanchez, who I think is really more likely a trade chip than anything else. Power eye combo often leads to inflated value on the market, and that's what I'm counting on there. There's a really good closer Oops, not this guy. That entered the market a lefty with a 90 grade changeup. So this is somebody we might want to keep our eyes on. But other than that, there's nothing I've really done yet. Other than that, Manuel Margot refused to sign a contract, so we had to take him to arbitration. We did win that case. He will receive $3,800,000 next season. And as for awards, we got some pretty interesting things here. First of all, Michael Brantley won the AL MVP award, which I absolutely love. I love Brantley. I like to see him getting some recognition in the game. He is definitely one of the more underrated players out there. In the NL, Tatis wins it. Bellinger, who is now on our team, received the second place in the voting. Jacob DeGrom, no surprise, he wins the NL Cy Young. Just a completely dominant year by him. Bueller comes second. He had a really strong season as well. And you can see Mark Melancon actually as a reliever getting Cy Young votes. He's a free agent this offseason, by the way, but there's no chance we're signing him. Lucas Giolito winning the AL Cy Young, which is probably about what he deserved. He had an outstanding year as a strikeout pitcher. And it looks like Barrios finished second, Cole finished third. Zook actually finished above Bieber, which seems ridiculous to me, but I'm guessing that's because of his relatively inflated ERA. And Yarborough also getting MVP or Cy Young votes. So that's pretty funny. Chris Flexen, so a couple guys you don't really hear that much often. Greinke, by the way, is becoming a broadcaster, which I think is just hilarious. Jonathan India is the NL Rookie of the Year. Andrew Vaughn is the AL Rookie of the Year. For the NL, these are the Silver Sluggers, which I should change the name of the award to actually be Silver Slugger. In the AL, these are the Silver Sluggers. Michael Brantley, the MVP, got his Silver Slugger. Mike Trout is notably on our team right now. Edwin Diaz won the NL Reliever of the Year over Mark Melancon, who is the one that got MVP votes, which I find kind of strange. Tyler Rogers, who was temporarily on our roster, also got votes. Pete Fairbanks, I guess, just Pete Fairbanks, gets the AL Reliever of the Year. Alex Colome, who is a pretty solid reliever, comes in second. Ryan Presley comes in third, another strong reliever there. Jordan Romano, Rafael Montero, our own Emmanuel Clace, and Taylor Rogers also getting votes. Other than that, just about everybody has signed their extensions, and we can head on to the free agency. So look at the top MLB free agents. Max Scherzer is somebody I would actually be potentially interested in signing. Not to a multi-year deal, though. We'd probably give him a 3-year deal with 2 team options. I really don't want to give him too much. Justin Verlander is somebody I would actually strongly consider signing. He is a flyer because he's coming off an injury and could see ratings tank as a result. But at $14 million for, I'm guessing, a 1-year deal, or we could give him 2 team or a player option and a team option, get him 1 year. That's not a bad option. Freddie Freeman, a really strong hitter, but again, our team's kind of loaded on those. We don't really need him. Nelson Cruz, same deal. Don't need a shortstop. Well, we do, but not Trevor Story. Trevor Bauer is a free agent. Pitching, we might look at signing a starting pitcher. A lot of these top players we're just not really that interested in. I think Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander are really the only 2 that I could potentially see us signing. So I will get back to you guys once I've figured out who our free agent acquisitions are likely to be. The first free agent I'm going to be offering a contract to is David Robertson here. He is 36, but a really, really nice looking reliever. The type of guy that's a bargain at $3.5 million. He is high intelligence, low in greed. I think he's a pretty nice acquisition if we can get him that cheap. We'll have to see, but if it rises, I'm not going to sign him. But I'm more than happy to add him to our bullpen at $3.5 million. This is going to be a little bit funky seeming, but Devin Marrero will be our next free agent signing at less than $1 million. And I think his worst case scenario is being our utility infielder on opening day. If we fail to sign a shortstop because Andrelton Simmons and Jose Iglesias want a fortune, along with Nolan Arenado, who I would consider if we could actually afford him. But he could legitimately be our opening day shortstop if we fail to sign a better one. I'm going to keep my eye peeled, but at the moment, that's where we stand. I do like Devin Marrero's defense quite a bit, so I'll come back to you guys when I've hopefully found a shortstop design. So I mentioned earlier that Sosuke Genda would be an option at shortstop if we failed to sign the top guys, and I think at this point we offer him a contract. I am just not at all thrilled. Wait, what the heck? Is he no longer posted? Huh, okay, I don't think we can actually sign him. I think we're genuinely stuck with Devin Marrero because I scoured the free agent market and there was actually nobody better. So it's gonna have to be Devin Marrero. And maybe I'll find a trade. That's what I'll do. I'll look for a trade, and if not, I'll just let you guys know that we're gonna have an underwhelming shortstop opening day if we can't. For the record, I just remembered that we have Nick Allen in our organization, and he would absolutely be an option at shortstop if we were to fail to acquire one. But fortunately, I have worked something out here. So Miguel Rojas is coming off a down year with the Marlins, and apparently they are willing to trade him accordingly. He has some of the better shortstop defense available, and also a nice batting profile, fit to get on base. To the Marlins, we are sending Tanner Burns, a mediocre pitching prospect, Will Benson, a mediocre hitting prospect, and Gabriel Arias, who's a really bad hitting shortstop prospect that we have no need for with Nick Allen on board. So I think this one's pretty much just a direct upgrade for a rental. We might try to extend him, but overall, a nice addition to our team. So I'll try to figure out the rest of the team, and I'll get back to you guys with some more free agents. All right, well, it turns out we need a backup catcher, and I really like Buster Posey. He's a captain, he's got really good ability, he's a solid hitter. There's nothing you can't really like about the dude. So hopefully we can get him to sign. I like him quite a bit. He's a nice acquisition. So I just shopped David Price around, just for fun. And it turns out we can't actually dump his salary. The Toronto Blue Jays are willing to send us a minor leaguer, Jacob Wajaspak, I think, something like that. Definitely a name I can't pronounce at all. So we are essentially dumping $16 million onto the Blue Jays there. That's a good trade. And I will keep you guys posted until I have the next thing. I've come to the decision that we pretty much need to trade Xander Bogaerts. He's good, but I don't like him that much. I do like David Peterson a lot, though. He is a cheap young pitcher, lots of movement, which I really like for live games. He's got a five-pitch mitch, which I really like. He's got good control and stuff. Overall, just a great addition. We're getting $5 million in the deal, too, which is good. And he had a really nice year last season, too, so the statistics back him. Overall, a nice acquisition. Get back to you guys. There are some more trades coming here. To replace Bogerts, we are going to be picking up Kyle Seager from the Seattle Mariners. He is better defensively and not too much worse offensively. Also, a really good personality. He'll just be a one-year replacement. Not sure exactly what direction we're going to go after that. To make this work, we're also going to be sending over one of the relievers. We added Tanner Scott, but we will be taking back Casey Sadler and Will Vest, who will help fill out that bottom of our bullpen. Uh, Overall, a pretty nice acquisition. I think that this trade helps us a little bit, and we're not giving up too much. So, one more trade to make, I believe. I'll get back to you guys with that one, and then we are going to get into some more free agent acquisitions, I believe. All right, so this one's just basically a slight upgrade at second base. We're trading in Andres Jimenez, who is a spark plug and young, but not too much offensive upside, for David Fletcher, who I think is a better hitter overall. He has a pretty nice contact profile and similar defense. He's also a spark plug. He is older but cheaply controlled for several years. We're also getting his contract 40% retained. We're throwing in bits and pieces to make this one work. George Valera, Brian Rocio, and a couple of forgetful pitchers in or forgettable in Michael Baez and John Carlos Mejia. So pretty straight upgrade. I mean, a couple interesting trade chips going over to Los Angeles there, but I think overall this trade benefits us, so it'll just be free agent acquisitions going forwards, I think. All right, so we are now giving Robert Gsellman basically a $1 million contract. I like him a lot. He's a high stamina reliever. Nice stuff, movement and control combination. I think he will be a nice addition to the middle back of our bullpen. Solid guy. I think we're probably going to do one or two more acquisitions here, so I'll get on to those. So we will indeed be attempting to sign Justin Verlander. This one is going to give him $10 million in year one. This is really just a 1 year deal, a 1 year flyer on him. That $17,500,000 team option with a $2 million buyout. I mean, I really only see us taking this if he has a ridiculous year in our rotation, and then we'll probably trade him. I think this is really just a way to potentially grab another ace caliber pitcher on the cheap. I'm going to be looking at potential options, so I'll see what I can find here going forwards. After reviewing our financial situation and reassessing our budgets, I have actually decided that we are done signing free agents for the time being, and I actually withdrew Buster Posey's contract because it's more money than he's worth, and we've offered some minor league free agent deals to guys like Caleb Joseph and Steve Barron, who can step into that backup catcher role no problem as well. So I think at this point, I'm going to call this episode. So looking at our team, our current lineup, and remember our backup catcher is going to just be some guy with really high ability who can do other things okay. Our utility infielder is probably going to be Devin Marrero. Our utility outfielder is going to be that international guy. So our starting lineup is going to be Austin Hedges at catcher, great fielder, not the best hitting, but also a captain. Pavin Smith at first base, an outstanding hitter who can field his position. David Fletcher at second, a good fielder who can hit a little bit. Kyle Seager, a good fielder who can hit a little bit. Miguel Rojas, a great fielder who can hit a little bit. Cody Bellinger, an outstanding hitter who can field pretty well. Manuel Margot, a great hitter who can hit, or a great fielder who can hit a little bit. Alex Verdugo, a great hitter who can field pretty well. And Mike Trout, a ridiculously outstanding hitter. So I think this is a pretty good team. I think our lineup is very strong. I think we'll score a lot of runs, and we definitely have some very good defense in there. Our ace is going to be Shane Bieber. He's probably the best pitcher in the league at the moment. Chris Sale will be our number two heading into the season. He is also a very strong pitcher. Julio Arias is currently set to be our number three. He is one of the best pitchers in the league. David Peterson, a very strong number four. He's not a top pitcher, but he's in that second tier for sure. And Corbin Martin, a very underrated player. I expect him to be a very good pitcher. But again, he might actually start the year in AAA with us eyeing the possibility of signing Justin Verlander to a deal. Our bullpen will feature Emmanuel Clace, Phil Matone, Will Vest, Casey Sadler, Jordan Hicks, Drew Rasmussen, and Matt Strom, who could also step into the rotation if needed. We're looking at getting some other guys like David Robertson and Robert Gsellman in particular could join this bullpen. I think we've got a really good team together. I think there are great things happening in Cleveland, and the Guardians are going to have a great beginning to their legacy. So, on the next episode, I am going to be doing opening day and probably the first half of 2022. I think I'll handle the rest of the offseason off stream, so I'll catch you guys up when we get there. And yeah, I'll see you guys on that next episode. Thanks for watching.